3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to talk about a singing competition on our movie podcast, but I've been watching it.
I mean, last night I was in town for Ultimate, and I was at my parents' place, like taking a shower, and when I got out, I was gonna leave, and then The Masked Singer was on.
Nice.
And I waited until Medusa got unmasked. I think it was Medusa.
We haven't watched this season because we got rid of Hulu. I think we're gonna get it back, but we haven't watched this one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
watch this.
Sorry for spoilers, I guess, for The Masked Singer.
Medusa's gonna get unmasked. No,
sushi rolls. There was like a UFO.
Oh. Yeah, that sounds par for the course, pretty much.
It's so absurd and weird.
I did see they might have changed it by now, but at least like a couple weeks ago, McDonald's, their Happy Meal toys were like Masked Singer little plushies. And I seriously considered getting a Happy Meal to get a Masked Singer.
But like you pull the mask off and it's got like that like 90s toy hard plastic head on like the plushy felt body.
Yeah.
Oh, another Rudy Giuliani. Damn it.
Yeah. Yikes.
Apparently Jerry Springer was on The Masked Singer and he died recently, so they had like a tribute, like our friend Jerry. But it's funny that to do like a tribute, but he's wearing like ramen noodles or something, like whatever his,
that's
his
right.
costume.
Yeah, I think he was on the last season. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
That's goofy.
Yeah. How about The Masked Singer? Kalia loves that one.
Which one? What?
The Masked Singer.
I'm sorry. Man, how many fucking times am I going to do that? It makes me feel like my grandma every time. The Voice.
Yeah.
I said the wrong name.
The Voice. So, I enjoy it. There's one thing. So, like, normally singing competitions like American Idol or whatever, you audition for the judges and then they judge you, and then you're either in or you're out, right?
Right.
But with this one, the judges are recruiting people to their teams,
right?
And so instead of like arguing about like whether you're good enough, they argue with each other and try to like convince you to be on their team. So it's a lot more positive.
Yeah.
The auditions phase than in a lot of these other singing shows. But there's one. I have one huge complaint about The Voice, and it's the editing is just so weird. It's everything. The whole show is filmed like it's a recap of last week's show. It's just really short segments, and then with no transitions in between them, and then like, and there's the 4 judges coaches is what they call them, who are like famous singers or whatever.
Yeah, isn't
who
like
are
Chance
they
the
this
Rapper
year?
on there now?
Chance the Rapper is on there this season, as is Niall Horan from One Direction.
Oh, it's a couple of them guys.
Yeah, and then Blake Shelton.
Blake country singer guy,
and
Gwen
Kelly Clarkson.
Oh yeah, Kelly Clarkson.
Oh okay.
Yeah, but this is Blake Shelton's final season.
That's
and
right.
I keep talking about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they won't let us forget it.
Yeah,
I feel like being on the set of that, being like in the audience of that show would be agonizing, because I feel like they cut to commercial so often, and it's like, what do you do on the in between? Like, I bet there's a lot of downtime.
There's some banter.
Like,
the coaches will banter with each other, and they'll film parts of that and stuff.
I always wonder how much, if they film any of the banter, just like they're like, okay, they're editing the episode, and they're like, we need something to cut to, so the audience, like the judges, just sit in their empty seats or like they sit in their seats to like an empty crowd and just do banter with each other.
Yeah.
And then they just like pipe in the audience sounds later.
Maybe.
I always think about that kind of shit with reality TV.
Yeah.
Like
They-
how much of it is filmed like concurrently and how much
yeah.
of it is just like stuff they do. Like, oh, we
How
need
much
to
of
cut
it is
away.
scripted.
How much of it
Yeah.
is where they're sitting around and Blake Shelton has to pull up their like Google Doc for like their talking points, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Y'all
What
heard
are we-
about
what's-
this deep fake porn done with AI?"
Perfect Blake Shelton.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I'm speaking of AI. I'm
Gotta go
on the like honor council at my school, and so like they we like find out if people are cheating, they report it to us, and then we like investigate or whatever.
Oh
And-
god.
there was a case recently where the kid submitted an essay that was supposed to be like a reflection about like a reading he was supposed to do, and the first sentence in the paper that he turned in was, "As a language AI model, I don't have feelings," but and then it just kept going.
Like
Oh.
you like you can use AI, but like if you're not even going to bother
To
just
read it.
if you're just gonna pipe in the prompt and be like,
Yeah.
"Yep, there we go, all done,
Yeah.
print it, send it out." Like, what do you think you're doing?
It's like when
Yeah.
you're copying off your neighbor and you copy their name down too.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like, I know in like music production, there's like sample libraries that you can, if you want to make a hip hop beat, you can download a beat that someone has made. But
Right.
usually you have to pay for it. And if you don't pay for it, you can listen to it. But every 15 to 30 seconds or so, there will be a voice that's like, premiumbeat.com.
Yeah. Beatstars.com. Like,
Yeah, like they should do that with like Chat GPT, where it's like there's like if you don't pay for it, it's like white text, so it doesn't show up. But if you highlight it, because I've seen people try to do that, like they'll say that they do that with like resumes, like in order to get their resume seen by a recruiter, they will like hide additional text, because I think people are worried that recruiters are
I've seen
just
that.
like filtering shit out. Like they type in certain things and they filter out of resumes. So people are typing in those keywords that recruiters are looking for, and they'll make the font white so you can't see it.
Detail oriented.
Yeah.
Damn.
Back in my day, we just copied Wikipedia articles and switched words around.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Academic dishonesty is just so the kids have it easy these days.
Yeah. All right. I guess we talked about the voice.
Yeah.
Check.
Check.
All right.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of There Will Be Duds. This is episode 98, and I am your co-host TJ, aka J Spot Jack G's, and with me as always,
As
an open language source AI.
As always, I'm premiumbeat.com. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me, as always.
As always, I am Tommy, aka Moose.
And as always, that was a super clean intro from all of us there.
Yeah.
Good teamwork, everyone.
98
Crushed it.
episodes. We're starting to get it.
And as always, we watched a movie. That movie being Tremors from 1990, directed by Ron Underwood. It follows the residents of the town of Perfection, Nevada, as they are besieged, invaded by a quartet of giant monster worms called graboids that begin picking off people in the town. They got to find a way to either escape or take them down. And it's kind of feels like a, for the 90s, it's just kind of like a good old throwback monster action comedy horror thing. It didn't do well when it was released, but I think it pretty quickly became a cult classic. And that's kind of where it sits now.
And this is my girlfriend's favorite movie of all time.
Right. That's awesome.
She watched it like as a kid, like every day. Like as a kid, she watched this
Yeah.
movie with the scary monsters and everything.
Yeah.
The first time she showed it to me, I was like, I don't know, like I already know the twist. And she's like, what do you mean the twist? I'm like, oh, the Tremors are actually monsters, instead of earthquakes. And then she showed me the cover of the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's like the poster. And
yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, I guess, okay, never mind. I guess I'll watch
The
it.
twist is revealed in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Well, the twist is that Kevin Bacon is in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
right.
they actually got, Actually, something I never really took note of until this watch, maybe just because it'd been such a long time since I'd seen it, is that, and so Moose, you'd already seen this before. Nick, I don't know how much you knew about the series, but that it tries to kind of set up, it does kind of do like a little subversion or fake out with there are these little worms that are 8 feet long, the thing that wraps around the axle of their truck.
Yeah.
And for a while, half of the movie or so, you think that it's just tons of these little, I mean, not little, but relative to the actual graboids, little worm guys slithering around. And then you get the reveal. It's like, oh no, they're fucking huge. They're 30 feet long. And
it's like they're, I'm thinking of the SpongeBob episode of the Alaskan bullworm.
Yes.
Where he sees the little guy with a smiley face, and then it's that's his tongue.
That is
It's exactly the same thing.
That has to be a call, because do you remember they finished that off by sending it through the side of a cliff?
That's
did
right.
And it falls out of the cliff, so it's got to be
It's got to be a reference.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is also a big movie for me as a kid. I think I actually watched. The first one I saw was the third one, and it was when it came out on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was just I was a little kid and I liked dumb Sci-Fi Channel movies, and I was like, oh, this one seems neat. I saw a commercial for it, and I had a lot of fun. I really like Michael Gross, and then my friend. I was 8, 9 years old maybe. He was telling me about the first one and how it's it's the scariest movie ever. And I will say it's not. It doesn't even really try to be a horror movie, but there are some horrifying aspects to it. I was surprised rewatching it, the gore and some of the aftermath of the murders, when they pick the hat up off the ground and the guy's face is looking up there.
Face.
Yeah,
there's some
genuinely unsettling imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the guy who died of thirst just kind of
that too.
hanging
That's
there on the tower.
Pretty.
Yeah.
It does a really good job of kind
on him.
of. Yeah. It does a good job of kind of building the suspense, building the dread and the mystery, while still being a buddy comedy thing.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes or so, it is just Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward driving around to rock and roll. They're just kind of bebopping around the town. There's so and so. Let's stop by, say hi to him. They talk for a little bit, and they just keep going, and that whatever that mouth harp, that shit, just it's pretty stereotypical for we're just a couple of guys in the desert, but it works.
Don't matter, they're all the same. Dead weight. Oh, I broke a nail. Makes my skin crawl.
Well, I'm a victim of circumstance.
I thought you called it your pecker.
So yeah, having not seen this like as a kid, you know, I didn't have those nostalgia glasses on. It wasn't a huge part of my childhood. I've seen the movie cover a million times. Like I have, you know, just passively at a movie rental place or like, you know, DVD bins at Walmart. No, just like I've seen it. I think the thing that I like the most about this movie is all of the characters.
Yes.
Every character, like they're just every single character is so unique, and like they're fairly well fleshed out. I mean, the main ones that we hang out with, some of them like die off pretty quick, like the doctor and his wife. Right. You don't really get to hang out with them that much, but like near the end when they're all like on the like the little bobcat convoy, trying to get to the rocks. And, like, there's a part where, like, the worm set up a trap and, like, the convoy falls in and they all have to run for it. I was, like, genuinely, like, I was going to be sad if any of the characters died.
Yeah.
Even Melvin.
Even Melvin.
Even as much as Melvin was just a little bitch-ass twerp. All of my homies hate Melvin.
All my homies hate Melvin.
But I love the characters. Even like Reba McEntire as like the survivalist, like you know, doomsday prepper. They were all great.
Her and Michael Gross. Yeah, and Michael Gross is the so Fred Ward returns for the second one. But other than that, Michael Gross is like the mainstay. He still plays just like a supporting role in the second one and maybe even the third one, but then he's just kind of like he's the guy that stayed, so Bert just is like the main character for the rest of the series. So it is like a weird it's always fun like coming back to this one and him just playing a supporting role, to where like I do like him in the spotlight, but I also really like him as a supporting character in this, just as like another piece to the puzzle, because I agree that like I love that you have this little town. It's very well. This movie does a good job of like establishing the bases. You know, you like, here's the town. This is perfection. There's the general store. There's like the couple sheds. There's a couple houses. These are all of the people who live here. This is the entirety of like who's in this movie, and you just kind of like you get to know everybody, and then you see how they act in this scenario, and it's all they feel like. I don't know. It feels kind of like genuine, like the mix of like horror and just awe of like what they're seeing and stuff. And it's a really nice, neat little, it's fun script. It's just a fun, cool movie.
Yeah, I love the dialogue.
Yeah, a lot of good.
What the hell is going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Oh, Jesus! What the hell's going on? I mean, what the hell is going on?
This is kind of like Kung Pao, where like as they were saying the lines, I was like, oh yeah, they're dubbing, they're kind of like Snakes on a Plane-esque dubbing of Mother Humper.
I noticed that. I was like, did they censor themselves? Because I feel like it did look like the audio and the actual voice, like
that was done in post. Yeah.
That
was the studio thing to get it down to PG-13,
which is they were only allowed one F-bomb.
Yeah,
and they had it when
did they use
the
it?
First graboid. Yeah, when Kevin Bacon looks at the thing.
I missed it. Man, I thought I didn't catch that.
We killed it. Fuck you.
So that was the studio trying to tone it down, but Mother Humper's kind of like it's like a meme for the Tremors series because of that. Like they'll say it in the later ones. Like
that's pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one that I always love to say is the.
We killed it. You got that? We killed that Mother Humper. Come back. Roger that, Bert, and congratulations. Be advised, however, there are two more Mother Humpers.
Yes.
Also, something that like I appreciated a lot watching it this time is the creature effects too are great.
Yes.
For like I think a fairly low budget movie for the time. I don't know if it was independent, but I think it was pretty low budget. But like Yeah,
$5 million.
$5 million. That seems cheap for 90. It is distributed by Universal, so I don't know how inflation goes in the film industry, but the fact that it's 1990 and their biggest name actor is like Kevin Bacon, who wasn't that big name of an actor, I would say it's like but yeah, there's times where you see the tongues kind of moving and you see that it's like a puppet, but like, you know, the things like blast out of the ground, the graboids blast out of the ground, and then the tongues like whoosh, like slither out and and like the way that they like all the ways that they show them moving in the ground, you see like the ground swell, or you see like when they're in town, you see like the planks on the porch of the building
all of those moments were very cool. It's sort of like Jaws, where Jaws is scary because you don't see the shark for a majority of the movie. Yeah. And it's like the first 30 or 45 minutes until you get that big, you know, graboid sounds so silly. It sounds so silly.
It is. It is.
Which is better than, what was it, snakeoid?
Yeah.
I was like, stop calling them snakeoids, Melvin. You're not going to make snakeoid a thing, okay? But it's like, until you see that, all you see is like the way that the ground moves. It's like none of it is like digital effects at all. So it looks like they actually like had something under the ground to like make it, you know, kind of like tremor, move around. So it looked very realistic.
Yeah. It does a good job of making them feel like part of the world, like they're like real, and also like an actual. They feel so, not just from like just the imagery, but they feel like scary. Again, it's not really a horror movie, but like, man, like when the doctor is like getting sucked into the ground and you hear like the bones crunching and him like that's fucking terrifying. The thought
and his
of that,
wife
or
just
like
freaking out trying to grab him back.
And
then like, the plank splits in half when he's holding on to it.
Yeah, because like you realize that, I thought you were talking about because they like throw the plank with like the barbed wire into its mouth later when the girl's all tangled up in it, and it just eats that too. It's like these things can eat anything; it doesn't matter. Yeah. And like the wife gets in the car and she thinks she's safe for a few minutes, and then nope, they can swallow cars too.
Ugh.
It's just the thought of being like simultaneously buried alive and eaten alive it's very terrifying. And then when they're like, you know, they're like, oh, we can get on top of the roofs, then we'll be safe, and then they're like literally starting to shake the entire foundation of the buildings.
They just get smarter and smarter throughout the movie. Which I think is a good choice, because it has us kind of guessing like, what are they gonna do, you know? No one, because they don't kill any of the graboids the same way. Nope. Each one has its own unique way of getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I almost feel similarly to how I felt when we did The Blob. But it was like, I feel like there was like the writing and the pacing were very good, like setups and payoffs and things that were like, you know, basically you watched so you understood, and like the way that, you know, the graboids thought and developed and changed and how they killed them. But I'm also thinking of like, God, what was that? The rock paper scissors.
Rock paper.
I was like, whoa, okay, I'll wrap it up. But yeah, the rock paper scissors, the like, oh, you never have a plan. Oh, you got to plan ahead. Yeah. I thought it was really funny when throughout, like, Fred Ward would, like, you know, just string some profanities and then be like, oh, pardon my French. Yeah. And then near the end, she's like, we got to kill those goddamn bastards. And then she stops and she's like, pardon my French. Yeah. But it's like all that shit was like super satisfying to like, it's like, you see it and then like you watch it all pay off.
Yeah. Another one like that is where lighting the cigarettes. Like one of one of them has the lighter and the other one has the cigarettes, and they're like checking their pockets looking for the other item.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, when they need the lighter to light the fuse, Rhonda has it.
Rhonda has it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
She's like, "Oh shit, I have it."
Yeah.
And that was really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
To have that to have her like included on that. I feel like so this I've had conversations about this with my girlfriend. Val and Earl, so Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Yeah.
Is Fred his name?
Yeah, Fred Ward.
Are a
Gay.
little gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Rhonda comes into it, and they have this. It's like they have this kind of throuple thing going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it works. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely playing more towards the, Val being the one who gets the romance part.
Right.
But it is very minor. But how they act in, all the major scenes, it doesn't feel like too like weighed heavily towards Val over Earl. It does feel pretty
Right.
like even, and yeah.
It's like the only thing is that Val's a little younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did laugh like when we first meet Rhonda, and they like Kevin Bacon's like, yeah, she's got to be blonde, green eyes, bombshell boobs, legs that go all the way. And then like you meet Rhonda, and it's almost like a she's all that thing, where it's like, oh, she's got a little bit of suntan lotion on her nose, so he's like, ew.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And then again, it was a good payoff at the end when like he takes all of his like pictures of blonde ladies out of his truck and crumples them up, and he's like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. 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 Kalia was like, she's like, I don't get it. Is she supposed to be ugly or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, she doesn't
She's
meet
just-
his very high standards. That's
Exactly.
That's the point.
Ridiculous standards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another kind of callback is at the very beginning of the movie, Kevin Bacon is pissing off the cliff, and that's how they kill the last grad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's funny. I thought of that when the movie started, and then I forgot to think about it again when it ended.
I'm always thinking of Kevin Bacon pissing. But yeah, that was my first note. I was like, you can cut this homoerotic tension with a knife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very playful, and it kind of it reads that way, but not in like a negative way or derogatory way at all. It's dudes in the mountain.
Yeah. And either they live together or like their trailers are right next to each other, but they like either way they share like the sign that says who lives here,
Yeah.
when he's backing up, he grabs the sign and then they leave.
Mm-hmm. They're like a Bert
They're
and Ernie.
intertwined.
That's what they are.
Yeah.
Could be some homoeroticism in there, or they could just be like really good friends.
But definitely something gay going on.
Yeah. I like that, like what they have like the probably ultra conservative like doomsday preppers like Bert and Heather Gummer, but they don't like, they're played in a way to where they're just like eccentric characters in this, so it's a nice way of like not making it feel like they're like
they suck.
Yeah, like they suck.
Yeah. I feel like you get a little bit when they're at Chang's, when he said, I think there's like a throwaway line where he's like, oh yeah, what you gonna do? You're gonna find uranium, and then you're gonna get the feds all up in here, and they're gonna
there's a little bit of that,
and
yeah.
You know, those college kids turn up oil or uranium or something out there? Next thing, the feds will be at our door. Sorry, time to move. Eminent domain.
And it's like it's kind of played like a conspiracy thing, but also from what I know about the FBI and the CIA, he's probably right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
but everyone was just like, "Oh, okay, Bert. Yeah, you got those kooky ideas, huh?"
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest laughs I had the entire movie, because up until Bert and Heather, people are pretty helpless against these things. Like, we've seen a couple of people get like sucked into the ground. Like, people are scared. And then Bert and Heather square off with them, and they just have a shitload of guns.
Yeah,
and it's like
when it pans left,
it pans over, and it's just like the wall of guns, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, and
I was like, "Uh-oh, they're out of ammo. What are they gonna do?" And they just like throw them on the ground. And they look over, like, "All right, grab this one."
Yeah,
so satisfying.
The cut to Reba McEntire like double fisting some revolvers was good. Yeah. And then Earl's like, "Oh, okay," and he goes over to his cabinet to get his like comically large rifle.
He
even
breaks
more
the glass.
Yeah, to get his elephant gun.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That's man. Because like Reba McEntire was like an established recording artist to that point.
Yeah, they played one of her songs. In that.
Yeah. But it's interesting that she had like a string of movies in the 90s. Because the only other thing I know her from is the Little Rascals movie.
Oh yeah.
She's like the race car announcer.
It's
like, wait, you're a girl and you beat everyone in the race. But it's she wasn't bad. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, and when she turns to Bert, well, after Bert and Val have their like argument on the rock when they're stranded there, and then she she turns to Bert and she's like, I know, he thinks he knows everything.
Yeah.
So satisfying. Like she's good at like calming him down.
Yeah.
But she's just as much of a badass as far as like the weapons are concerned. And then when they're working together to make the bombs out of like random shit that they found on their roof.
I was like, of course they have improvised explosives.
Yeah.
Like,
Making
why not?
pipe bombs. Yeah.
Yeah. I like I said earlier, I was like, oh, I hope none of the characters die. The ones that died, I was like, okay, that works. But Chang was a pretty great character up until his death.
That is definitely the biggest bummer loss.
I thought a lot of Barbarian when this. So in Barbarian, like when Justin Long finds out that there's like this huge, thing under his house, like this, he immediately gets the measuring tape to see if he can like get more property value out of having like a huge murder basement in his house, and then in this movie it's like there's a worm going around killing everybody, and Chang is like, how do I turn this into a profitable photo opportunity? Like the whole time he's just like, okay, $15, okay, and then $5 for a headshot with the evil snake.
Yeah, and he's the one focusing on like, oh, we got to give him a name too, so we can like market this.
Yeah.
He's
the one who comes up with graboids, right?
Yep, he is. Yeah, they do that up even in I think it's in the third one, where like it starts with it's like a theme park ride where like they're like, oh, go on a graboid safari, and they set it up so it's like that scene where the first one dies and it's like chasing them, and you see the like fence post go tick tick tick.
Yes.
So they like rig up these little things so that like when people are on the graboid safari that they'll like knock over, and then they have little like,
oh, that's cute,
the little like hoses in the ground that'll like puff up dust and stuff. So the whole like marketing aspect is, that's something that they like try to like turn perfection into like a tourist town, because it's basically like a nothing town otherwise. And
Yeah.
Right. Population like 14.
I think 14 at the start. Yeah.
Geographic isolation.
Yeah, I guess since you mentioned, I that definitely is the death that bums is the biggest bummer. And I even he's the guy who's in Prince of Darkness and Big Trouble in Little China too.
Yeah.
And I just saw Prince of Darkness recently. Did you guys notice the other oh hey it's that person in this? I guess not. I mean, maybe Michael Gross or even McIntyre would be that, but
Are you thinking of Mindy?
yeah, the little girl.
I had to look her up, but once I knew who she was, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she's the girl from Jurassic Park, Moose.
Oh, okay.
The
I haven't
little
seen
girl.
Jurassic Park.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, I managed to never see it.
Dang.
I think I saw part of one of the new ones, and it sucked.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, it's like the first Jurassic Park is the only one to watch. Like,
Yeah.
not even Jurassic Park 2 or 3. Like, some people like those ones, but
I remember seeing Jurassic Park 2 and 3 in like theaters, and I mean I was a kid, so I was like, oh, whatever, cool.
yeah,
But yeah, OG Jurassic Park is
it's classic.
classic.
It's classic.
Although but she is in Tremors 1 and 3.
Oh, she's in the third one. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had a cameo in Jurassic Park The Lost World.
Okay.
But yeah, it's always weird when like certain actors come back to like, I don't know, like sequels, and
Like
especially
later
with
on. Yeah.
yeah, like
Oh.
it's just funny that Michael Gross is like the only one that keeps coming back to him, even to the point where he's in like the 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
And, like-
recent,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you look at the cover of that one versus like, it's so silly.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
is
him and John Heater, who is Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
John Heater has a chainsaw and he has a machete, and there's like a graboid like sea monster.
Right.
Mm.
There is that Shrieker Island. Is that the most recent one?
Shrieker Island. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. So Shriekers show up in the second one. They're like offspring things of Tremors. They walk on the ground. They're kind of like the pig monster from Galaxy Quest. They like have two legs and kind of like hobble around,
Oh.
and they use like
Okay.
heat vision. But that's like mostly I think there's like a graboid in the second one, but it's mostly the Shriekers.
Interesting.
And then the third one, the Shriekers evolve into, I don't know if they give them a more proper name, but they call them ass blasters in that. And then so yeah, I'm assuming probably like as they go on, because like the Shriekers and Shrieker Island look a little different. They probably like evolve in some way in each of the sequels.
Oh.
Yeah, but really like the second one, they were like planning on releasing in theaters, but they ended up going straight to video, and then everything after that is straight to Sci-Fi Channel. So like, I guess hey, like Jurassic Park, you only really need to watch the first one, really.
Yeah, you hit the law of diminishing returns pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I think what makes this one so good is that there is no time spent trying to figure out the origin of the monsters.
Yeah.
There's no like, well, there's a science lab down the road, and they've been doing genetic testing on this. It's like there's monsters. There are these worms in the ground. They're gonna pull you down and suck the skin off your bones. Don't be
all.
on the ground.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. Yeah.
The only part. The only part that I was like, was like at the end when they're like, oh, stand still. Oh, if you stand
can't
still, they
see
can't.
you.
And that's like, I feel like it's
But
a
if it was
nitpick, but I was
tracking
like,
you, yeah.
it's like earlier on in the movie. It's like with like monster movies and horror movies. There's rules that you kind of have to follow, or else it all kind of breaks down.
Yeah.
And they didn't really establish that super early on, because it's like they chase people down. It's like they know where you are, and then out of nowhere they're just like, oh, stand still. Oh, if you don't move, it can't feel the vibrations and it doesn't know where you are. That's like a little nitpick, but I was like, that's something that should have been established earlier. But other than that,
also like with Jurassic Park with the T-Rex.
Yeah.
I do know about that part.
Yeah. I think it's the perfect kind of lore where you get a little bit of like, there's a couple different, you get a conversation or you get a scene where other people are like, oh, maybe it's this, maybe they're aliens, maybe they're prehistoric, but you never get an answer. And you get a little bit from Rhonda, you get a little bit of like the science behind it, but you don't know everything.
It's just
about
enough.
them. Yeah, exactly, just enough. Yeah.
You were gonna say something, Moose, I think.
Oh yeah, talking about the I was just going to talk about that conversation where they were talking about the origins of the graboids.
Oh.
And what's her face? Rhonda is like, yeah, I have no idea what the fuck is going on here. And then Nestor is like, yeah, but where do they come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she an MSU student?
Like the character?
It said property of MSU.
I saw that.
Really?
I was like, oh,
interesting.
Huh. Does MSU have a seismology program?
I don't know.
I mean, MSU is big into like science,
like agricultural science,
agriculture.
And that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So, could be.
You know, people have to dig in the ground to plant crops. You know, so probably the same thing. Yeah, and then that there's like that, they kind of go back to that later where he's like, they're on the roof and Val's like, he's like, oh, what do we do? What are they gonna do? What should we do? And she's like, why are you asking me? Like, she's like the scientist, so she's got to have like all the answers for this stuff that nobody has ever seen before.
Yeah.
As a grad student, that was very relatable.
Yeah.
Why are you asking me? I don't know anything. What the
I really like the synchronized pole vaulting sequence. I thought
that was cool too. Yeah,
a lot of fun sequences, a lot of fun shots of the characters interacting with each other.
Yeah, it's it's just over tight 90, but you know, it's short, sweet, and like it doesn't really waste time. Like I said, you get your little bit before shit hits the fan, you get introduced to the characters, and then like every scene you're like developing the action to it's like, you know, you get an evolution of like either the creatures or like understanding them, and you know, you're always being introduced to these like new things with them.
Yeah, there's not a wasted moment in this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
which is like the best movies. No wasted moments.
What'd you say?
I said that's like the best movies. Is like no wasted moments, because I think like Amadeus is that's one that I always go to as like absolutely no wasted time in that movie, and yeah.
Except for the extended edition that has the
right. No.
The extended operas, and then also the tits.
Right.
The extended nips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like, I noticed once they got Rhonda on the cat, then they cut to everybody's on the thing now except for the Doomsday Preppers. And it's they didn't waste our time going around picking everybody up. They were just like, no, like this is the story we're telling. They picked everybody up, and next let's keep going.
It's like you get it. You know what the plan is. They do it.
It's not like Hot Knives where they show the entire process of the guy pouring whiskey and cracking his egg into his blender and show him blending all the stuff up and then drinking everything and then walking to the bar, and yeah. Much better than
that's
Hot
one
Knives.
of the many ways in which this movie is not like Hot Knives.
If you want to be a part of that, make sure to tune into our Bad Movie Nights on Wednesday on Twitch. Are you guys good to go? Is there anything else?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Who wants to start? us off? I'm intrigued. We're
I don't even
all
remember.
coming at this from like different
Yeah.
different areas.
I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my girlfriend showed me this movie like a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen it probably like 5 times since then.
Oh, nice.
It's her favorite movie.
Right.
And with each rewatch, I'm like looking for things to hate about the movie, you know, like because she says it's a perfect movie, and I'm like, no movie's perfect. But I was watching this like with a critical eye, like what sucks about this movie, and yeah, Nick's right. Them standing still is kind of like hard to justify, but all in all, I have to agree this was a perfect movie. 10 out of 10.
Awesome.
Wowee.
Nice.
Not a wasted moment. You fall in love with the characters instantly, and then all the setups and payoffs. It's just, and then you gotta, and then you know the thruple goals with Rhonda and Val and Earl. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great little movie.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm necessarily at a 10. I don't. No faults immediately come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like a 10 to me. I don't know why. So I'm like, I'm at a 9. I had a really good time. It was, like we said, it didn't waste any time. It was very brisk, but it just oh my God, I'm losing it. There was no fat to be trimmed. All the characters were great. The world felt very lived in, and the leads were all fantastic. And it harkened back. I don't know what's going on, man. I feel like it harkened back to like those 80s creature movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like the last good one, but it kind of feels like the end of an era for that genre where there's like cool practical effects, puppet work, blood and guts puppet work, like all that kind of shit that you get from like The Blob or The Thing or those kind of movies. I feel like it just seems like it's one of the last ones to really do that and do it well. But yeah, it was great. It was 9.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think I'm going with a 9 as well. It makes me feel better that you guys are. I wasn't expecting you guys to both rate it so high, too. Makes me feel better because I was gonna say like, oh, I'm biased, so I'm giving it a 9. But it's good that it's like it stands up to people who are, it's like brand new to or relatively new to.
Yeah.
And it's a monster movie classic. I love monster movies. This and like probably like the 98 Godzilla, which I would say does not hold up in the same way. But those are kind of what got me into the genre. I love it so much. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find my sequel story. I couldn't find the notebook that it's in. I don't know where it is.
Huh.
But, yeah, absolutely. Like one of my favorites as a child. I don't like. Again, I don't like coming off as like too biased, but I guess I just watch really good movies as a kid.
Yeah, you're lucky in that way.
Yeah. So
we'll start picking up movies from my childhood, and it'll be like the John Goodman Flintstones movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So 9, fantastic movie.
Nice.
Absolutely love it.
I don't know how much material we'll get out of it, but
Sure.
The movie that has been said to be unadaptable is allegedly going to be adapted into a movie, and James Franco is nowhere near it.
Was he before or something?
Apparently, James Franco has been trying to adapt Blood Meridian into a movie for like a long time.
Really?
Yeah, to the point where there are memes that are like, "Keep James Franco away." But yeah, I've read about half of it, but it is a.
Oh, you never finished it.
I haven't finished it.
Okay.
But Moose, do you know? Are you familiar with Blood Meridian at all?
I am not.
It's written by Cormac McCarthy, who also wrote The Road and No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
But the guy who directed The Road is the guy that's being slated to direct Blood Meridian.
Oh,
but
nice. Was that James Mangold? Or I could be totally wrong with that.
John Hillcoat.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought it was James Mangold. Okay.
But Blood Meridian, it's a story about a kid who basically kind of gets whisked away cross country in like the early 1800s. I forget the time period of that movie.
Yeah, or like mid 1800s, something like that. I don't
but
know.
It's
like
basically
right before the Civil War, I want to say.
Yeah, but it is known for its very graphic violence. Basically, he kind of gets picked up by different groups, and then a big part of it, he's like part of a scalping squad or something like that, and it's yeah. But it's, I mean, people consider it to be like the American novel, like one of those types of novels.
Yeah.
But it's been, people have tried to adapt it to film many times, and they're just like, you can't do it. You can't capture. Well, it's so violent, and it's also like capturing the essence of the book and like translating it to film is very difficult. So I'm very curious to see how they do it. But I do think that Cormac McCarthy and his son have been like hired on as consultants for it.
That's good.
Because I feel like Cormac McCarthy was for No Country for Old Men as well, which, having seen that movie and read the book, the Coen brothers like absolutely nailed the tone and like the overall vibes of the book. So if Cormac McCarthy is involved, hopefully it turns out well. But I anticipate I could see it going either way. Like it could just be very like shitty and derivative. But if it's done right, I don't know.
Yeah, I know there's people who like, and not just this, but I know in particular for this that there are people who like, oh no, it's gonna like ruin the story or whatever. But I'm a person who is always open to film adaptations, because to me, if the movie sucks, it's not gonna ruin the book for me. It's not gonna make the book worse for me. So I'm open to giving it a shot. No matter how much, I might be like, I'm not putting a ton of faith. I wouldn't be putting a ton of faith into it, but maybe, could be cool. Could do something different with it. I don't think that would be one that, I feel like if they did adapt it, they would be scared about any sort of, what's it, creative freedoms or whatever, which I'm all for with adaptations. Like, if you want to take a book and like change it in some way, alter it to make it fit more of a movie format, that's okay. But I feel like they would not do that with this book, because it's so like, it is so revered.
Yeah. I'm also curious how the casting will go, because these are like incredibly iconic characters. Like one of the primary antagonists of the book is this guy called Judge Holden, who is like, he's like a 7 foot tall, completely hairless dude who's just like this menacing, like devil like figure.
The Rock. They gotta get The Rock.
Yeah, oh no. No. Or Anthony Carrigan from Barry, NoHo Hank.
Oh yeah.
He does his best like Tom Hardy transformation into Bane, but it's him as Judge Holden.
I was actually the first one I thought of as a joke, but maybe, I don't know, Dave Bautista, but I was almost like, it wouldn't be a terrible pick.
I think he could do it. He demonstrated his range to me in Knock at the Cabin. I thought he was absolutely the best part of that movie. Yeah, the casting will be difficult.
And the kid too, because the kid's young. He's not. It's not like he's like 18, so maybe they'll age him up. But if you're getting a kid actor, you gotta be
just throw Bella Ramsey in there.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Now I want this to be done by the Coen brothers.
Yeah, really.
Because like they did, I don't know. I love No Country, and I feel like they did a really good job with adapting that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I definitely will have to finish reading it before the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
My worry is that they will get it. It would like have to be somebody like the Coen brothers who are allowed like basically complete creative control over theirs. Because if it's somebody lesser
who doesn't have that credibility,
they could do all in their power to like, to make it like it is in the book. But I feel like it's going to be studio interference that would ruin this, because they're going to be too scared to release. Like, if they adapt this correctly and include like all the scenes from the book, studios are going to be like, nope, we can't show that. So you gotta take
what
that
do you
out.
mean I have to edit this out of my 2-hour-long Native American gore fest?
Yeah. 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 So I don't know. Maybe
We'll see.
I'll definitely keep an ear out for it.
Yeah.
I saw Beau is Afraid the other day, the newest Ari Aster movie. And it was great. It's funny. It's been getting a lot more mixed reviews than his other movies. Hereditary and Midsommar. I don't know if you know those ones, Moose. Those are his other two.
I've heard of I've seen Hereditary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same director.
Yep.
Awesome. That was a good movie.
I love Hereditary. I think Midsommar's okay. Beau is Afraid is definitely like there's parts where like I'd say like the first half of this, and this is a long movie. It's 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
I'd say like the first hour and a half, I was like, this is better than Hereditary. This is my favorite movie of his. And it's not like the latter half is like bad. It just fell off enough to where I'm like, no, I think Hereditary is still his best movie. But
It was too long.
Yes. I hate to say that, like, yeah, with like a director that I like, and especially a movie that I was loving for the first half ish.
Yeah.
And again, it's not like it got to a point and I was like, okay, when's this gonna be? Oh, this is boring. But it's like in the latter half where you really start to feel like there's some scenes, and there's even some scenes that I was really into. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is really neat. There's all this cool like special effect work going on, and I like what this. It's like just kind of like a weird little tangent, but then it's like, okay, now it's going on a little bit too long. And it's like, if these scenes had been cut down just a little bit, and that's where I was feeling like, okay, this is where that overindulgence is coming into play, where it's like, yes, this scene, I was enjoying it. I do still enjoy it. It's not bad, but it's like, it could have been a little shorter. And then like the very final scene, I was feeling that too. Like this, okay, I get it. I get what's going on. You don't need to repeat this. You could have cut that down. We could have got this bad boy down to like 2.5 hours maybe. But I would still highly recommend it. Even with my complaints, I gave it an 8. Cause holy shit, the first it's broken up into like 4 chapters, more or less, where like actually I think in between each like section it like cuts to black and then cuts back in, so it has like little bookends like that. And it's like the first chapter, 10 out of 10. Oh my god, it's like the hardest I've laughed at a movie since like Jackass Forever or something.
Okay.
It was fucking hilarious. And I didn't know too much about it, but I assumed it was more of a horror movie. He said that it was like a horror comedy. but I still assumed that it was going to be more of a horror movie. But no, it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I the only thing I know about it is that he goes to visit his mother. That's all I know about the entire movie.
I think that's like the description for it before it was released. Yeah. The entire description was like a man goes to visit his mother.
Yeah, but I think I did know that it was less like hereditary dread and horror and more like anxiety kind of horror.
Yeah.
Because like some of the imagery in Hereditary is still seared into my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that first shot of like the one where like the mom is like in the corner of his bedroom, or that first time you see the naked dude in the closet and he's hardly illuminated.
Yeah.
That kind of shit is the most unsettling, terrifying shit in the world to me. I don't know. There's like another scene in Barbarian where the monster's coming down the hallway, and it's just black, and then you hardly. It's like when you're playing a horror game and they want you to adjust the lights until the image in the center is just barely visible.
I don't do that.
that kind of horror where it's like there's something in the darkness and you can just barely see an outline.
It is. It's like, so Beau is like, he's racked with all these anxieties. Like he is afraid of essentially everything. And the movie is basically just, it's completely from his point of view. You never get a break in it. So it's like he's like, it's like his day-to-day life, but everything is awful. Everything is stressful and awful. It's like the worst possible world. But you never get a break. So the movie never really tells you like, oh, this isn't what the world is like, you know? It's just like you never see like from the outside like what's actually happening. It's always in this heightened awfulness state of view where everyone hates him, everyone blames him for everything. Everyone like wants to kill him or like all this like terrible shit. But that is what makes it so funny. It's like him just like walking to his apartment and there's like him just walking down a street and there's people like stabbing each other on the street or like having sex on the street or like every choice he makes or every mistake he makes leads to the absolute worst like outcome. And also it's like it's kind of like a, you know, hashtag relatable because you'll find like he has so many anxieties about everything that you'll end up like there'll be like some along the way where you'd be like, oh yeah, I get that.
I can
yeah
calling someone that sucks.
Yeah, stuff like, I mean, that is kind of like he calls his mom early on because he's gonna be late for his flight to go visit her. And there's just like these super long pauses. And then she'll be like, okay. In that tone of like, I'm upset, but I'm going to act like I'm okay. And it'll just sit with that. And he'll just be like, and then he's like, no, I mean, I can, you know, we can see if we can reschedule it or I can, you know, maybe I still have enough time. And she's like, well, you just do what you want. And that's the kind of conversations that he has. It is weird because it's like it is mostly like just silly and ridiculous, but it does a really good job at showing those anxieties to where I was kind of feeling, especially towards the end, I was feeling the same feelings that I feel when I'm watching a horror movie. Like I was feeling the same kind of horror or the same kind of dread that I feel. And there's like little parts where it is shot and kind of lit. And maybe that's just because that's what Ari Aster is. He's a horror director.
Right.
Where it's shot and lit like a horror movie. So there's like really dark, deep shadows or it's shot really creepy, but then it doesn't really lead to anything. It's just that's how it is. And maybe that's also to play up Beau's fear. Like, he's scared of everything, so everything looks scary to him.
Right.
And there are some reveals towards the end that are like that, like low lit where you don't really see stuff. But again, it's so ridiculous that you can't fully be like terrified of it. You're like scared, but also like laughing, and also like, oh my God, what the fuck is happening? You're not going to fucking be able to guess what is going to happen in this movie. It is insane. It's an insane, wild ride. I definitely want to rewatch it soonish, to kind of... I feel like it is a pretty straight up... Like, it is very, like, metaphorical. Again, it's just from his perspective. You don't really get a real unbiased reality. But I feel like what you're getting is pretty straightforward. Like, if you really watch it and you're like, okay, I get what is supposed to be going on here, except for the ending. The ending I'm still a little unclear on. But yeah, so I want to rewatch it to kind of really hone in on that. But also like Tar or The Haunting of Hill House, how those have all those like the hidden ghosts in the background.
Yeah.
This has that, but instead of ghosts, it's like drawings of dudes with like big dicks and holding flags that just say "come" on them, or dudes like pissing into their own mouths and saying, "I'll have some more of that." Like all over. It's like shit like that God. All over.
I do like that idea if Tar was a shit post.
Yeah.
Which that movie was kind of a shit. I mean, if
kind
you look at it
post.
in the right way, it's kind of a shit post anyway.
Yeah.
But,
Especially the ending. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely parts where it got to, and I was like, okay, this is why people don't like this movie.
Yeah, well, I keep seeing articles saying that it's like Beau is Afraid is like tanking in the box office.
Yeah, it's not doing well. Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a comparable thing, but it's almost like Ari Aster's his Magnolia, where it's like he has a proven track record. Like, yeah, Boogie Nights was such a successful movie, you can do whatever you want. It's like, you made Hereditary and you made Midsommar, so like here's open season on whatever you want to do. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna make a 3-hour long movie about
mommy
like being a
issues.
Jewish guy with like anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then it just like, people love it, but it eats shit in the box office.
Yeah, it feels like one of those. Well, when we went, there was maybe like 4 or 5 other people in the audience in like 2 or 3 other groups. And we were the only people left when the credits rolled.
Really?
And I think I heard
didn't
some
stay the
people
whole time?
I think I heard some people leave at one instance, and I'm like, yep, that's the part where you would leave. It's like it'll make or break it. And I think you guys would be more, I don't think it would like ruin it for you, but I think there's people who are like, oh, this is an Ari Aster A24 horror movie. And then there's not quite this, but you have, like I said, there are all those drawings of like penises and like just this horrifically dumb, crude shit all over this movie. And then there's like stuff different, but like in that same vein of just like dumb, not very artsy stuff that's later on. And that's the part where at least like one of the people left.
Yeah, Beau is Afraid, I definitely want to see it. I would rather see it in the theater than stream it at home, I guess.
I think I would really recommend seeing it in theaters because it just is so bombastic and crazy, and just it's like an onslaught of awfulness. It's like
onslaught of awfulness.
It's like if I am going to flex my artsiness here, it's almost like a modern Candide by Voltaire. Have you guys read that, or are you familiar with it?
No.
I know of it.
So Voltaire was a philosopher who was like anti Leibniz, I think, and Leibniz was a philosopher who like promote. He was all about optimism. That was his philosophy. We live in the best of all possible worlds was kind of his thing. And Voltaire was the opposite of that. So Candide is about this. It's called Candide the Optimist, and he's this guy who he's taught by his professor that we live in the best possible world, be an optimist, but just everything bad. Like it's the entire book is just awful things happening to Candide, and he's just like, yep, this is great. It's like a satire of optimism, like being like, no, this world sucks. Or like maybe a reference that Moose would be more familiar with is like it's kind of like Job. It's kind of like the book of Job, where it's just he's just a guy
Everything bad happens.
and everything bad happens to him. and Candide is funny too in that way. It's much more fancy 1700s philosopher comedy, but it is funny and just like how awful just everything is in that book. So if you get a kick out of that, then you'll like it.
Fun fact about Leibniz: invented calculus.
Oh,
That's where I know him from.
Oh,
okay. And it's the same guy. It's the same one.
guy. I just googled it.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
Back in the day when you could be a mathematician and a philosopher.
And a philosopher, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and a diplomat, apparently.
I think you're just like rich. You're just an aristocrat, and you were just kind of all of the things back then.
Yeah. You just do whatever the fuck you want to.
Although if you're
imagine-
Voltaire, you'd just be like, yeah, Leibniz was a mathematician. And that's it.
Yeah.
imagine living in a time where people were still discovering mathematical equations and formulas. Like, I'm sure it's still happening to some degree, but like there's no big discoveries like calculus.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe
I think those.
we'll be teaching algebraic geometry to fifth graders in the coming years. Who knows?
Yeah, I think that shit could happen. It's like we don't know what is undiscovered until it's discovered. So
True.
And also,
yeah.
like, the average person in Leibniz's day probably didn't give a shit about calculus or know that calculus was even happening.
Yeah, they're just like, shut up.
yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, nerd.
Stop being so optimistic.
Yeah. Okay. So we're ready for next week's movie?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Are we?
Episode 99.
Yeah, episode 99. Jesus.
99. Getting up there.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-oh.
No, I was just saying that we're
Oh, okay.
rapidly approaching 100. Okay. Next week's movie. From the year of our Lord 2000, directed by Christopher Nolan, Memento. So,
I haven't seen it.
Oh.
I haven't seen it in a while, but cool.
This is a fun movie to show with people who've never seen it before. I showed my siblings and I showed Chloe, and I get to relive the climax vicariously through them. This might be my favorite Nolan.
Oh, interesting.
So that's exciting. Do we have the same DVD version? That's like a case file.
No, I think I just have the regular.
Oh, okay.
The regular.
There's a
one.
really, really cool like special edition DVD that it's got like a little sticky note, and then you open it, and it's like his like medical charts in his case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
It is on HBO, or
Okay, great.
soon to be just Max. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Oh,
they're
really?
dropping the HBO. It's just gonna be Max. But yeah, it's on HBO Max, and then it's for rent on YouTube, Apple TV, Redbox, Google Play. So, got a few options to watch it if you don't want to be spoiled for it before next week's episode. These episodes come out every Wednesday in video form on YouTube, and I think we're going back to Twitch too. And then in audio form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. We also have social pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with all that said, I am your I am one half of let's can we all just be part of the power throuple in this movie? So I'll be Earl. Earl's my favorite character, so I'll be pardon my French. I'm TJ, aka J Spot Jack Cheese, and with me as always.
Well, Moose, who do we have left? We have Val and Rhonda. I think there's only one way to decide who gets to be who.
Oh, I should have left that.
Ready? Wait, hold on. They do we do it 1, 2, and then 3 because they don't do shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so
ready. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, gotta go again.
With the scissors.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You know what? I'll be Rhonda.
All right.
I'll be your geographical MSU student getting her pants torn off by a big old worm. Nick, aka Dr. Funk on Twitch, and with me as always.
As always, I'm your Val who never plans ahead and gets to say the one F word in the movie.
Oh, nice.
Tommy, aka Moose.
All right. Now, fuck you. That's our
Get out of here, you mother humper.
What the hell is going on?